Alrighty, guys and gals, just a very short tutorial here. Some of you might find this very basic and obvious, but there are people who don't know. So I had one of my viewers, Progressive Logic. How are you doing, my friend? He was asking me about ground clutter and how I switch it very quickly to turn it on and off. So I do that with a macro, and the macro was actually sent to me by, I'm pretty sure it was Cynics. He is a member of my channel. I love it. So basically two ways. Right now the ground clutter is turned all the way up. Well, it's not the easiest way, but the default way to do it is just go into your options, go to graphics, and you want to scroll down to here where it says ground clutter. Excuse me. So if I turn this all the way down to 1 and click apply, you can see the result there. So this is great if you're herbing. I think it's great because the herbs just stand right out on the ground. I use it when I'm herbing, but I also use it in my hardcore challenges, especially if I'm playing a gnome, a dwarf. You can barely see above the grass line. This easily lets me see mobs in the area, especially if it's like goblins or something like that. So you can do it there, but I'm going to show you another way to do this. So if you type in macro / macro, it will open up the macro window. You can also just hit escape and hit macro, and you can create a macro right here. And I have several of them that I use. Some of them I don't use that much. So what you do to create a macro, if you've never done this before, again, this may be very basic for some people, but some of these might help. Just hit new. You can name it whatever you want. So I have named mine max and min, maximum ground clutter and minimum ground clutter. Pick any icon that you want. You click OK, and you will have this will change to this. You'll have a blank window. Or a blank macro command field here. Just enter this text. It has to be exactly. Save it, and then pull this out to your bar somewhere. And then repeat the process and create one that says min and put the ground effect density to 16. I'm surprised this isn't 1 or 0, but 16 is the minimum. Right? So what this is going to let you do, if I now click minimum, it'll automatically change. It'll just go between these two. And I like having maximum up. For me, it's a little bit more immersive and the game looks like it's supposed to. But again, if I'm herbing or I'm trying to be careful in an area, I can just see much, much clearer. So that's that. Now, there's a couple other ones I'll show you just while I'm doing this video. This is a great one, I think. Can I find it? It's called Rain. So this I've been using for years. So if you're in a place, say, like Duskwood, or any place that's already kind of naturally dark and gloomy, if it's also raining in that area, it's kind of cool at first, but it's very difficult to see, right? If you copy this little console command here and you're in an area, just drag this out to your bar somewhere. If you're in an area and it's raining and it's it's just too much, just click this once. It'll be a massive difference. It'll turn it from that kind of heavy rain to basically a very, very light drizzle. It works really, really well. This is another one. I created this one myself. It took a while to figure out the command to do this, but if you're like me, so by default, I think the game sound, it's 15 or 20%. I can't remember which one it is. For most of the zones, I think it's okay. But if you're in Stormwind or Ironforge, it's just too much. It's just overwhelmingly loud, I think. So what I'm going to show you here, this sound, where the heck did it go? Right there. So when I'm in Stormwind or Ironforge, I have a macro that will reduce the sound to 5%. You can change this if you want it 15, it will be 0.15. Obviously, 10% will be 0.10. So what's going to happen if I open this up? Let's go back to sound. So if it's too loud, right now the music volume is 20%. If I click the volume, you can see it automatically sets it to 5%. It's just something really quick you can do. Now, if you're somebody who doesn't play with music on, then obviously you don't need to worry about it. 10% for most zones is good. But again, because of the YouTube thing that I do, I don't like the music swelling up and competing with my voice. I think it's annoying. If I'm watching a Let's Play or something and the music is just like I'm having to struggle to hear what the person's saying, it's just kind of annoying. So that's just one that you can use if you want. Another one I'll show you. This is something I use on hunters. This is very basic, very simple. But this is my opener for hunters, so I just call it go. All show tooltip does is it'll just show you the name of the ability when you click over it, if you're making a macro right there. / cast hunter's mark, and then / pet attack, one word. So what this will do, I have this key bound to whatever keybind I want it to. And when I have the target selected, I click it. It'll set my hunter's mark on the target, and it'll send my pet in immediately. That way I don't start attacking first and then the pet goes. I don't have to press a separate button. No, just a little basic command there. The fishing macro, if you are somebody who fishes, this one is great. I love this one. And I'll actually show you what this does on my... Whoops. Let me get back to... hopefully I'll do a little cutscene here to speed this up. I'm going to jump on my dwarf who has fishing, and I'll show you exactly what this little quick macro does. It saves a lot of time. Let's log out. I'll jump onto my naked warrior here. Okay, so what this is going to do for me... Hey, how you doing?
Greetings.
How are you? Okay, I'm too friendly. What this does, so in the backpack, I have my fishing pole right there. So on this particular character, I go between using a staff because it does more DPS, but I also have an axe and a shield, and the reason I have the two separate sets is because I use shield bast to interrupt casters, and that doesn't really matter. But let me open up my macro thing here. So my fishing macro right here. So each line of this code here, it does a specific thing, obviously, but the mode control right here is the key to this macro. So what this allows me to do, if I come down here to the fishing icon right here, if I click control or hold control down and click on it, it switches. So right now it's switching between equipping my fishing pole, which is the first line, control click, and it switches back to my axe and my shield. Very cool. Now, if I just click on this, just a regular left click, it will automatically cast for me. So I don't have to drag the other thing down there. It's just kind of like an all-in-one thing. Very cool. And what I actually usually do to make this even better, whoops, I need to turn that off. Well, not better, but just a little bit easier for me to use. Do I have the bar up here? Well, I'll just use this one. So this is bartender. What I do is I'll drag this bar up. All this is just, you can create this with bartender. I only use this while I'm fishing. So the pool or the lake or whatever is out here, I just click this and he'll keep casting. I don't have to move down here to click it. I mean, it just saves a little time. And while the bobber is in the water, I just reposition and I'll have this right above the bobber. So after I right click to get the fish, I just click again. Very easy to do. Now, if you can just do this if you just have one weapon. For instance, I can, let me see, if I just copy this, let's copy this, I said. We'll do a new macro here. I'll just name it staff. It doesn't really matter. You choose an icon. Select OK. I'm going to paste. So what I can do here is I'll just remove one of these. If you just have one weapon, like a two-hander, right? What you do here is just remove, leave fishing pole. Here's my staff. So if I control click on the, or not control click, shift click, it'll automatically put it in there. And this has to be spelled exactly. The capital letters, everything, it has to be exactly or it will not work. So now if I save this and I drag this icon out here, what'll happen if I control click, it'll go between the staff and the fishing pole. And again, if I just regular click with the fishing pole, it will cast it automatically for me. So I don't know. It's helpful for me. Do I have any others that I would want to show you while I'm in here? I don't think so. No, I think those are the most useful ones that I have. Oh, if you're a hunter, this is another good one, I think. I just call it Yum. If instead of you don't have to worry about this in later versions of the game, right? But you have to feed your pet in Classic, which I actually prefer. But instead of clicking the feed thing and then clicking on the food you want to give your pet, whatever food you have in the bag for the pet, just create this little macro right here. And then whatever food you're feeding it, like if you were feeding it coyote steak or, whatever it was, again, just shift click on it and it'll put the name of it in here, save it. All you have to do is drag this out to your bar. You just click on that and it automatically will feed your pet that food you have selected. Now, if you change your food, obviously you come in here and change it back. So the same thing with the fishing. If you end up changing your weapon, or if you go to a strong fishing pole, just make sure you come back in here and edit your macro, and that should work for you. But that's it. I just wanted to show you that really quickly. I hope it helps you. You guys and gals take care. I'll see you in a future episode of something. Peace.
Farewell.